DawnDares2Dream, I like to inspire and motivate adults to dream again. Because as we go through life and take on our different roles and responsibilities, we tend to put our dreams on the back burner. And my goal here at DawnDares2Dream is to help you pick those dreams back up and to pursue them again. Now, I want you to understand, I started DawnDares2Dream because I wanted to relay my message and my heart and my feelings across to whomever would listen. It can be difficult getting your closest family and friends to understand the way that you believe and when you try to express it and share it. So this was like my backdoor way into letting everybody know. Now, I may have lost some viewers as a result of that because they don't agree, and that's fine. I am definitely a proponent of everyone having their own thoughts, their own process, their own mindset that works for them. Your religion works for you, you keep that. No one's telling you to get rid of that. Whatever it is that works for you, continue to use it. I'm just saying that sprinkle some of this other information on it, this personal development information that I'm providing you, and see where your life takes you and how you take off personally. Always remember, we are in control of how we see our environment. I don't care what everyone says it looks like or everyone says it is. We are in control of how we choose to perceive the environment. Hey dreamers, welcome back. And thank you to all the new dreamers who stopped by DawnDares2Dream today to see what we're all about. Well, of course, we are still in the No Ego series, and I'm in the process of writing the workbook for this series. Now, this is a shorter series, somewhere between 5 and 7 episodes, so I am not charging as much for this workbook because it's at a different price point. And it's called the No Ego Action Guide. And what I'm doing is taking what I'm writing in the action guide and kind of giving you a short synopsis here on video. But in the action guide, there are activities for you to do that will help you to analyze yourself as you are going along this no ego journey. Now, I called it no ego because that's a typical hip way of people always talk about ego, and they always say no ego, have no ego. But you know what? I'm realizing there's nothing wrong with having an ego. There's nothing wrong with whatever the spectrum of ego you are on, as long as you are okay with it. It's not about what others think. It's about what you think and what you feel for yourself. And you know, we've been talking about self-importance versus low self-esteem. Those are like extreme self-importance and low self-esteem are like the two ends of the spectrum of ego, right? And so where do you lie on that spectrum, and how is that impacting your life? That is kind of the lesson that I want all of us, including myself, to get out of this series. Now, to be honest with you, I came up with the No Ego series because me and my son's dad had been going through some things. For example, we had in our custody agreement that when my son turns 11, or when our son turns 11, he would go and live with his dad. Now, you have to understand that that was my idea, that was my input, because I felt like my son would need his father more the older he became. And I thought, so I thought it was a good idea. I didn't know I wasn't going to like the fact that I had made this commitment, right? So I made this commitment, and the time has come. My son turned 11 in January, and his dad decided that he wanted to take him in January versus wait until school was out. So I thought I at least had till the summer before I had to give my baby up, but I didn't. Because of virtual learning, his dad was like, he can come now. It doesn't matter. Even though he's in school in my school district, which is not where his dad lives, it didn't matter because he's going to school from home, right? So, but before I am really willing to allow him to take physical custody of our son, I was actually thinking of going to court, getting a lawyer, and withholding my son from him. For real, this is what I was thinking. And because I didn't want him to go. And I didn't think that his dad was making the full commitment of being the custodial parent. So I was feeling, as they like to say, some kind of way about this process. But remember, I initiated this like 7 or 8 years ago. This was an idea that I had to put in the agreement. Well, fast forward to today, of course, he's with his dad, and I went ahead and let him go because you know what I realized? I was functioning out of the negative side of my ego. I felt like I was the better parent. that self-importance, right? That arrogance, and that he couldn't be the parent that I was being. And if that's the case, then my son needed to stay with me. So I was functioning out of my ego. And it hit me that throughout this separation that we've had, and it's been about 8 years, I guess, I have functioned out of my ego this entire time. It was my way or the highway. And I didn't even realize it, that when we were together, he used to tell me, he could not do anything for our son because everything he did was wrong in my eyes. And as a result, he got frustrated with the comments that I would continually make about how he did things, about how he changed the diaper, about how he fed him, about how he held him, how he played with him. Anything that he did was a problem. I didn't realize I was doing that. I didn't. So my ego really dominated, and it was the part of my ego that identified with motherhood and being a parent and knowing what my child wanted. And I know what they want. And then versus me sharing with him how I would like him to do things in an easygoing, gentle manner, I just kind of barked orders, and it didn't really work out. So I realized that I've been functioning out of ego a lot. So as a result of thinking about how my ego has been impacting me and impacting the others around me, I said, maybe I should write a little series about this so that we can sit back and take time to analyze where we are on the ego spectrum. And like I said, as long as you're happy with wherever you are, I don't think that there is a good part of ego or a bad part of ego. In today's topic, we're actually going to talk about how ego doesn't allow for us to see our true selves. Yeah, our true selves. So let's start on the self-importance, extreme self-importance or arrogant side of ego. If you're living on that part, you probably think you're perfect. You probably think that everybody around you is inferior to who you are. And you probably believe that you can do no wrong and that you are the sole authority on what you believe you're an expert in. And you may believe that you can't really learn much from others, right? That's a possibility. Now, there isn't anything wrong with believing all those things about yourself, but having that type of belief that you are perfect can skew your view of yourself and who you really are. There may be areas that even though you may be considered the SME at work, the SME at work, subject matter expert, you still may need to brush up on some things. You may need to do some training and take some courses so that you can learn more and be more current with your knowledge. Like for me, working in technology changes. So if I'm not constantly trying to either read on my own or go to some kind of training or just learn from my colleagues around me, then I'm going to fall behind and I'm not going to be able to do my job as well as I think. So it's important not to think that you have reached that high pinnacle, that level where no one can touch you and you don't have to worry about learning anymore, because we all need to learn a little bit more, right? I think so anyway. I think the more I know, the more I learn, the better person that I am for my friends, my family, and my colleagues, because I am going to add something very special and dynamic to the mix of the personality types that are there. So when you have the over-exaggerated self-importance side of ego, and that's where you live and that's where you stay, it can kind of skew the understanding that we all need to improve because you think that you're perfect, right? And I think in some areas of my life, like parenting, granted, there's no perfect parent, but I thought I was better than my son's dad. And to be honest with you, now that he is living with him, I see the differences and the changes in my son. And we are completely different because I'm a female and he's a male, and we just raise a boy differently, right? But I see the benefits to me having him and what I have imparted, and the benefits that his dad has imparted as well, especially having him more on a day-to-day basis. But when I was living in that super self-importance, arrogant, I'm the best parent ever mode, I didn't understand that his dad had a contribution to make that was significant and that would be helpful for my son.
So let's talk about a topic that if you have been following me and you've been watching my different YouTube series, you do know I talk about taking full responsibility for your life and how important that is. Now, if we're going to take full responsibility for our lives, then that means we have to have a retrospective eye into ourselves, into our actions, into our emotions, and not placing the blame and responsibility on others. Now, if you're living on the end of ego, the spectrum of ego, where we are talking about you have a low self-esteem, you have low self-importance, where you believe everybody else is more worthy than you are, you don't believe that it is possible for you to go after your dreams and actually achieve them because you're not worthy. When you live on that end of ego, it's a lonely place. It's a sad place because emotionally you have been beat up and torn up because of what you've gone through in your life. And this is where taking full responsibility of your life kind of comes in for the low self-esteem person, the low self-importance person. You are battling with your own inner issues, so much so that you just don't feel like a whole individual. And when you don't feel like a whole individual, how can you see the brilliance that lies within you? If you don't believe that you can learn, you don't feel like that you want to try anything new, you don't believe that you have an impact on the world, a positive impact, then you do nothing and you just kind of waste away and you never reach that full potential or anywhere near your potential for what it is that you're supposed to do in this world. Now, why this is important is because you're not seeing the truth about yourself. And as a result of not seeing the truth about yourself, you are not becoming the person that you need to become to make an impact on those around you. So you have that special gift that you won't release into the world because you don't have the confidence to release it. So you see what I'm saying? You're on the opposite end. We have the extreme self-importance and low self-importance. The extreme self-importance person never obtains all the information that they need or the knowledge that they need to make their true full impact that they're going to make. Then you have the person with the low self-importance who doesn't even believe that they can make an impact at all. And both extremes leave the world missing something, because I believe that we were all blessed with a gift. And that gift, whatever it is, we're supposed to share and inspire and motivate others in whatever form that looks like or appears or manifests in your life. But when you're on both these extremes, you never reach that potential because either you think you know already or you think you aren't worthy to even begin to know. So that's why I say it's not about one side of ego being bad and one side being good. It's really not. It's about understanding where we are and the impact that we are leaving. Because our egos, I've constantly said throughout this series, they make up who we are. What we have gone through in our lives creates the ego that we have, that we're walking around this earth with. So all the pain, hurt, and trauma that I have experienced in my life helped to create my ego, right? So then I, went on a journey of being healed of my past pain, hurt, and trauma and letting it go. And then I still have ego and I still have been impacted by the past, but now I've decided to take all of the things that I believe are positive that impacted me in a positive way with those lessons that I learned from what I've gone through and that pain, I've taken that and that's developed who I am. Now in developing who I am, it's still all ego and it's still all from my environment and what I've gone through. So I just want you guys to really take the time to think about what that means to you on this series, how your ego is impacting you, how is it pushing you forward, how is it holding you back, and is there a way that you can kind of work towards getting towards the middle to optimize your ego, the best that you can to the best of your ability. And remember, I do have a newsletter. And if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, what I need you to do is message me or email me at DawnDares2Dream@gmail.com, your first name and your email address, and I'll get that right out to you. I'll send the welcome newsletter, and then that following week, you will get the subsequent weekly newsletter. Remember, this newsletter subscription is free of charge. In the newsletter, I'm going to talk candidly with you about different things that are going on in my life. It won't be necessarily series oriented. It will be just little lessons of things that I'm learning and experiencing as I go through my week. And then I'll write just a little informative, candid, this is how I feel about this subject or this topic. And I will also, just like I do with my workbooks, provide you with a little bit of an activity, a small activity that you can go ahead and complete if you feel like there's something you need to work on, or if you just want to share what you've learned with someone else. So remember that I am going to have the workbook for this series, the No Ego series. But what you have to do to get it at no cost to you, you need to email me now while I'm doing the series. And I believe I have one episode left. So if you're watching this episode and you want the No Ego workbook, email me at DawnDares2Dream@gmail.com. And what I'll do is I will send it to you. And that way you will have your workbook at Action Guide at no cost. So if you have any comments, drop me a comment down here. Also, there's a share button with an arrow. Click on that and share this to your social media platform like Facebook. My face is going to be up here in a circle. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, click on my face, select the gray bell, select all. That way you'll be subscribed to my channel and you'll be notified to all the new content that I place up here to YouTube. And on this side, I'm going to place up the No Ego series so you can go back and watch any of the episodes that you may have missed. And I'm also going to place here the last series that I completed, which was the Releasing the Pain, Hurt, and Trauma series. How to release the pain, hurt, and trauma. Because I know a lot of us have pain, hurt, and trauma that we're holding on to. Some of us know we're holding on to it. Some of us don't. And then some of us just have no idea on how to let it go. And so that series is to help walk you through some of those things as well. And there is a workbook associated with that. So for all the different workbooks that I have, if you go to the middle of the description for the video, description for this video, go there where it says shop, click on that, and then it'll take you to the website where you can actually purchase any action guide or workbook that you deem necessary. And remember that I do have different YouTube playlists, different YouTube series. Just click on the playlist within the video, like above it, there is a thing that says playlist, like it says like videos, playlist, it might say home. Click on playlist and you'll see the different playlists that I have listed there. There may be something that you want to check out. So I have enjoyed our conversation today, dreamers. Have a great day, dreamers.